Hello and welcome to the Chilled Cardano podcast. I am Illinois with my co-host Chilled Cardano. How are you on this beautiful weekend?
Doing great, Eric. These markets are something to behold. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm glad to see what's going on. Very excited.
It's incredible. I mean, everything's pumping. It's like it's NFTs specifically, but also tokens. Like everything is just kind of pumping. And even on Twitter, Mike, some AVAX people showed up in my one of my threads, and they're showing love. So I think it's just people are getting excited about Cardano. They see us getting excited about our own chain, and they're curious because maybe their chains are kind of in a lull right now, and everyone wants the hot hand, right? So they want to see what's going on here, and I welcome them with open arms.
Yeah, there's so many catalysts coming down the pipeline, right? And some of them aren't even like our own doing. Like the thing I've been really getting into is Ethereum's main NFT marketplace, OpenSea, has gotten rid of royalties completely. So that means for people who are selling on the secondary market, they're not making the people who created the NFT to begin with aren't making any money off those sales, which is really shitty for artists because that's kind of how you make your money, and it kind of helps get you through those, like the bear market, when you're probably making another project or making your NFT collection even better, working with developers to maybe start staking or doing a metaverse player of some sort. But when you don't have that income coming in from those royalties, it's such a turnoff. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
as somebody who needs to make money to live, and you want to call yourself an artist and you don't want to work at McDonald's as your full-time job, you know what I mean? Like, you want this to work, you want this to succeed. So it's like you're gonna find any way to figure out how to make money in this space, and it's like one of the ways to do that is to get those royalties off a secondary market, right? And so OpenSea just got rid of that completely, which means Ethereum's done with the NFTs, is like the way I look at it. And then Magic Eden, the second biggest marketplace in the NFT space, got rid of royalties as well. So what does that leave people with, Eric? The third biggest marketplace, which is Cardano. We're not getting rid of royalties. We understand that these guys need this money to continue to develop, to make their NFTs better for the community. And so a lot of people are dipping their foot in. People who were making fun of Cardano to begin with, who thought it was a ghost chain, they're starting to play with the tech, right? They're picking up NFTs, and a lot of these people have really big bags, Eric. So they're buying up a lot of our NFTs, and you're starting to see like this nice little bull run market, in a bear market, in a macro bear market. We're getting this small NFT bull market. So it's kind of fun to see everything just go up. Everything's exploding, Eric. Is there any projects you want to look into specifically that are just blowing you away right now?
Let's take a look. But actually, I didn't actually know OpenSea got rid of royalties too. I thought it was just Magic Eden. That's pretty crazy. Let's take a look at OpenSea NFT, guys, and let's just show this chart. We'll show the 30-day, but yesterday we actually had 4 million ADA volume, which is an all-time high, after we just had an all-time high the day before. I don't think we'll break that today, but it's hard to say on Sunday, but I think a lot of people aren't buying NFTs on Sunday. But let me close Telegram because people are going to message me.
Me too.
But yeah, trending upward overall, which is really beautiful to see. If we look at like all time, from like January to like June, there was a pretty high volume. And then I think that's where a lot of people got sucked in, including us. And then after June, it kind of dumped volume wise. People were not really buying anything anymore. But then all of a sudden we started the volume started coming back. We had a lot of we had like two conventions in a row, like NFT related stuff that really got people's interest again. And then the OpenSea and Magic Eden thing was like the thing that really is making us, take off big time. But as far as individual projects,
But
like
can I make a point right there too? If you want to go
yeah,
back to that chart, the thing that is really important to note too is we got to give fucking props to IOG for making the Vasil hard fork go through and getting
yeah,
this chain to a very fast speed. Because if we had all this influx of people to the point where we're at maximum capacity, like hitting all-time high, and like no one has no complaints about chain congestion. I haven't heard one thing on Twitter about it, and that's just like bravo, because like that's what you need. Like when you have an opportunity like that, where it's like people from different chains are looking for somewhere else to go where they can make money, and there's enough space here where we could fit everybody in, and no one's had any complaints about congestion. It's like,
yeah,
well, then that whole conversation about TPS is just moot, right? Because you can, it's like, got it. It's like having refugees come from a different country, and like you're not like as immigrants, and like you don't have the infrastructure to like take
careful
those people
here.
on. But like that's what it's like, because it's like we have all these new users, and it's like before, like 6 months ago, we would have been fucked.
Yeah,
But now that we have all these improvements in the base layer protocol, now we could take on all this NFT, you know, marketplace sales going on. So, but yeah, continue.
yeah. I remember one of the first projects I like minted was Split World, and they had a thing like you had 30 minutes to send your funds, and if they didn't get it by the end of the 30 minutes, like you didn't get the mint. And I literally couldn't get the transaction to send in 30 minutes. And like since then things have gotten so much better where like that just isn't a thing anymore. Like the longest you wait is like 30 seconds for a transaction, but it's usually like 10 seconds, I would say. But it's amazing to see how far we've come.
It's funny too, because no one even talks about it. I haven't heard anybody talk about it. It's like we
Yeah.
just take it for granted. Like as things improve, it's like that's how it is. That's like human nature. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, someone from like another chain was like, "How long do the transactions take on Cardano?" And I was like, I had to think about it because I'm like, I don't know, I don't really think about it because it's just like
Seconds.
a few seconds, If you can't wait that long, then you might be a true degen. I don't know. Um,
You might be a redneck. Here's your, here's your sign.
blue, blue collar Cardano podcast. Um, so I would say what has impressed me the most, obviously, Ape Society.
I mean, we got to talk about it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
So, let's talk sales. Let's talk all-time highs. Let's talk. I mean, these guys are threatening Ethereum as like one of the biggest projects in NFT space, regardless of chain, right? Like, I think
yeah,
yesterday they got up to number 7, like out of all
wow,
NFTs. So, I mean, bravo to them. They're the ones bringing us up. Everyone's paying attention and being like, "What the hell is that? Why is it on Cardano?" Their curiosity gets spinning, and then you start seeing all these big Ethereum whales coming over, and like, they're not asking those same questions where they're like, "Cardano has NFTs." It's more so
right.
like, "What wallet do I use? What marketplace do I use?
Yeah, they
Give
just
me
want
some
to know
good
the info.
places." yeah, like OpenSea NFT, like CNFT Jungle, like CNFT tools. They just want to know, and that's how you know you're getting adoption too, because once people have these things bookmarked, they're gonna just check it, right? Because it's like it's another place to make money to them, and it's like
Yeah.
most of these people are like mercenaries. I don't think they're gonna stick around forever, but let's say 100 people come over, like you gotta figure, even if the tech's good, with the tech's good, it's like it's gonna be interesting to see how many, like, as this thing continues week after week. I'm gonna be really interested to see how many people like stay here, because I think we're
Yeah.
gonna get a lot of people to stay. I think
I think so.
Eric had a really fun interaction yesterday on Twitter where he had this crazy thread, and I just think that kind of banter like creates like, oh, these people have like a really fun, cool community. Like, is it weird? Yeah, it's weird,
It's very
but
weird.
it's also fun.
I think people respect that though. Like we don't take ourselves that seriously. Like if you guys want to come over, like cool, but we're just gonna like send memes and stuff. And I think people actually like that better than me trying to explain like, oh well, this is the transactions per second and all this stuff. Like they're all NFTs, they're all fun. Like it just depends on what you like.
Right.
Um, but back to Ape Society, Luna. Um, let's see here. So back in January, they started out at around 100 ADA, and they slowly, went up to like 1,000 in March, and then they hovered from like 1,000 to 2,000 for like a super long time, like 8 months, I think. And I'll be honest, I just never really considered even buying one. I just like I don't really. I already had like chilled Kong, so I was like, I feel like I only want one ape thing. So I hitched my wagon to chilled Kongs more so. And then because of that, I wasn't DYORing, and I didn't know about the staking they were doing and the frames. Like I heard about it, but I wasn't really into it. Um, but they just happened to, I think, like they were kind of at the right place at the right time, like releasing things right when people were starting to buy back in, um, and then they just took off from 2,000 all the way to 15,000 in like a month. And now they're down to like 12,000, but I think it's just like it's probably one of these little where it dips, consolidates, keeps going. Um, I think they're probably like the Cardano blue chip now, and everything else is following this. I think. Would you agree with that? And of course, they had the all-time high sale of 180,000 ADA the other day, which was insane.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think they're leading the way, and they could possibly be like the board ape of this chain. Uh, but I think it's just more of a display of that these things can succeed on Cardano, not just succeed, but like lead the way. And it's a threat, and it poses a threat to Ethereum's NFTs. And I think a lot of those people who are major players in that market understand that they're missing out, and they need to come over and check this out and stop ignoring it. I think it's just, I think it's the beginning of the beginning for like Cardano to lead the way, and just seeing like massive accounts, like people with like 85,000 followers, and
So, yeah, Ape Society obviously extremely impressive, and if you can afford to buy one, might as well. Like, I'm sure it'll do well. Um, might as well buy the dip of 12,000 ADA. Uh, but beyond that, I would say second. I don't know if it's like the most impressive. I kind of saw it coming, but Clay Nation, um, I always thought they were the blue chip of Cardano. I think they are one of them, but um, they were like hovering at 3,000 ADA for like months and months, and they finally broke out like a couple days ago, and now they're up to 4,500. Um, and that keeps climbing. They also have clay baking, which is like staking your NFT, and you get the clay token from that. Clay token has been going crazy as well. Um, so that's a fun project that everybody is also getting hyped about. But obviously, Dirtbirds had their run. I don't know if might take a little while for them to keep going, but I think they will. Dead Rabbits, Mike. Um, they actually went down to like 300 ADA. They were starting to look a little dicey. Um, and then for some reason, people really like this project. Like, it's just something about like, I don't know, animal PFPs. The rabbits look cool. And like whenever we're in a bull market, they seem to pump. Like they're always one of the ones that pump. So this one's up to like 1,000 now. Um, I really like Dead Rabbits, but I mean, honestly, every single project has pretty much pumped, other than a select few. Um, and it's just it's hard to miss out on anything in this at the moment. Like you probably have something that is pumping. Um, is there any projects you were impressed by?
I mean, yeah, Dead Rabbits going from 300 to 1,000 floor is insane. I think if you want to go back to that main page, I mean, Space Buds is kind of interesting because they're not going up as much as you think they would. Um, so it's kind of interesting, like what's actually moving and why they're moving. Like you'd think
Yeah,
it'd be about the tech because of Ape Society and their staking mechanism with their frames, which you have to buy with their society token, which makes the society token go up. And the more the society token goes up, those people are who hold NFTs are able to buy more. So it's like a buyback program, which makes the floor keep going up, because they have more money because of the society token going up. And it's like this really awesome cycle that's going on now that it will get to a precipice. Like it will get to a point where like the amount of society that like you make, like some people are making 7,000 ADA a
yeah,
month with staking, and there's no way that can keep going like that. But this is the problem. Like it's a good problem, but it's a problem where you don't know how to play it. Like if you're a holder, just hold. But if you're trying to trade this stuff, it's so hard to like like yeah, take profit. Like get your profit, like if you want to keep moving and shaking, like but when stuff's going up like this, it's so hard to like know when to sell or like how to play
yeah,
it. But when it's this hot, it's like really hard to sell something because the floors just keep moving up and up and up, and it's like, well, like you don't know where that baseline floor is going to be when it comes back down, so it's like it's really interesting. I mean,
yeah,
personally for me, I'm just going to hang on to the stuff that I have because I like if this is just the beginning of people coming in, like I have no idea how many people are going to come when like real people come, because it's like you think this shit's expensive now, but then things that I thought would never hit 1,000 are hitting 1,000 like it's nothing. Like, or like
yeah,
just the fact that you see like an Ape Society at 15,000 was incredible. I did not see that like happening this year. So it
mm,
kind of you have to like imagine what's possible, right?
Yeah.
And you
And
start
it's
to
like a
realize like,
feedback loop, you know?
yeah,
People see that happen and then they dump more money into the
right.
ecosystem. So it's hard to know when it's gonna end.
But it's like
I
this
mean,
emerging market where it's like we don't have a lot of data. Like we had a podcast a couple weeks ago where we were starting to talk about how we could use the backlog of data to like figure out the cycle of like the ups and downs of an NFT market. But like obviously we just don't have enough data because this shit is just starting. It's like that first pump in December might have just been a like a for starters pump. You know, like
yeah.
we don't even know what's capable now. So it's like you might be looking back and you might have made $1,000 and you might have missed out on 50 grand. So it's like, fuck, like hard to
And the
play the
thing
game,
is,
Eric.
I kind of feel like the fact that ADA is so cheap is making it easier for all this stuff to happen because you look at like 15,000 ADA and you're like, sounds like a lot, but it's like, what, like $6,000 or something, which is a lot, but
Yeah,
um, it's it's still like it's first of all like you're thinking in ADA only, and then you realize that this is like in a super bear market. This could be worth so much more, like in a year or 2 years. Like if ADA's at $3 again, like if
yeah,
ADA
three
were at
bucks.
$3, people wouldn't be doing this 15,000 ADA stuff. Like, but
I think they
everyone's
would.
trying to.
That's where I think you're wrong. But go ahead.
That's true, actually, because in a bull market, people do even crazier shit.
Yes.
Um, but what I'm trying to say is like people are just trying to accumulate right now, and they don't really care about the price of ADA because they know it's going to turn around eventually. But I think everyone was hanging on the price of ADA for a long time, and they kind of gave up on the NFT market because they're just like, "Fuck this! Everything's capitulating." But I think at this point, people see where the market is at, and they probably just want to have fun with it, and then see if they can make stack some more ADA. Um, because if they really wanted to get out, they wouldn't be here, right? But
Yeah, I think we're getting to this point with like to zoom out with the markets, it's just there's nowhere to make money. And as like and this is my own personal thesis. I think we're going to be in this with all the war taking place and all this bullshit happening. Um, just so many questions to be answered, and nobody knows what's going on. People are just going to check out, right? And because they're going to check out, like they don't have a lot of like places. They don't want to go out. They're just going to hang out at their home and like hang out on their computer, and they're gonna fuck with shit on the internet, and they're gonna play with like Cardano. And if like there's games, there's play to earn games, there's NFTs to sell, there's all this shit to do here, and like all these really fun communities to take part in. I think people are just going to check out of real society and just like hang out in these virtual worlds. And
yeah,
that's why people are accumulating this shit because uh like if you buy something for like 50 ADA, which is like maybe 50 $100, and that ends up being 1,000, and then all of a sudden like you can buy a couple more, and next thing you know, like you have some cash to play with, and it's like um you can just have this own separate virtual life, you know. And I
yeah,
think it just escalates really quickly too, because you start to lose yourself in this world, and there's so many things to play with, and more shit's coming online every week. So I think more and more people are, for better for worse, people are checking out of real world and they're coming into virtual worlds like this. And when they talk about the metaverse, I think this is what they're talking about, where it's like you're coming into this place where it's like these virtual economies where it's like you can actually use this money to pay your bills. So it's like people are just gonna start doing this shit more and more.
right.
And speaking to like the Cardano price, as much as I want to see it go up, the fact that it's been like 35 uh, cents for months is kind of good because it lets the rest of the universe of Cardano like go up, you know, because people aren't worried about the day to day price. It's like if I'm making a couple thousand ADA on an Ape Society every day, I'm not really worrying about the price of ADA going up or down, you know? So,
Yeah.
like, as much as I want to see it go up, it would probably be really bad for the marketplace, like, because people aren't going to know what to do. It's gonna halt that
Yeah.
that trading because people don't know if like, well, if I spend this 100 ADA and this project doesn't move as much as the price of ADA does, like I'm kind of fucking myself over. So
Yeah. Or like if ADA does a 2x, are people still gonna spend is the 100 ADA floor still gonna be the same, or is it gonna go down to 50 ADA, you know?
right,
Like, people worry about that, but usually the floor doesn't really change too much by price, um, just from what I've noticed. It's just that people stop buying NFTs for a little while.
I'm starting to think like when you get these moments where everything stays flat price wise, that lets the rest of that ecosystem start to build up, and like people will start to take more chances and try new shit. And I think that's where you get the real like growth in ecosystem because like once you become a whale in one of these tokens or these NFTs, you're kind of like you kind of stuck there in a way, you know,
Yeah,
because it's like you don't want to miss out on that next 10x. So like
and
if
you
you
don't
want,
wanna dump everything and then, like, you don't know if you're gonna kill the whole project, you know?
yeah,
Like, it's harder to take you have to take profit really slow if you're, like, a whale like that.
right,
Because if someone who has, like, 20 or, like, 50 ape societies right now, just put them all on the
on the
floor, like,
floor,
people would freak out and just start undercutting them, and it's interesting, like, trying to sell NFTs. Like, I tried to sell a couple when there was, like, this little lull the other day, and the second there's a lull, it's like no one's buying anything. It's really you have to sell, like, when things are going up if you wanna make a quick deal. Like, otherwise, you have to wait, like, multiple days usually, and then the floor price is, like, dropping every day that
right.
someone's not, like, sweeping the floor. So, that's the thing with, like, this crazy growth we're having. If you're if you need, like, some liquidity, you should probably sell, like, during these crazy times,
Yeah,
I would say, because when it stops, like, you're gonna be freaking out. You're gonna sell stuff for way cheaper than you should because it's just not gonna sell right away. But that's not financial advice. That's just for entertainment purposes that I'm saying that. Um, but yeah, have you had the same experience, or do
yeah. I
you
mean,
sell NFTs, right?
I've sold multiple of these projects that we've been talking about at like lower prices, and it's definitely shot me in the foot.
Yeah,
So it makes me more hesitant to sell like the other ones too, you know. So it's kind of hard to play this market right now, especially in a bear market. It's like so confusing, you know. Like everything on every other chain is going down, and you have Cardano NFTs going up. So it's like, are we starting like this altcoin bull rally? You know, because back in 2018 this happened too, in a smaller sense. Like everything died off and everything flowed out like once Bitcoin crashed from 18 back down to like 10. But then we had like this altcoin rally for about 3 months and everything just exploded for a while. And then it died off too. And then everything like stayed flat for like a year. So I'm wondering if that's what's happening now, where it's like this is like the last boom before everything dies out for a year.
Yeah.
which would make sense because of everything else going on. Like, I don't know. For me personally, I think like you should probably try, not financial advice, but probably try to sell most of this before the end of December, just because like I've just seen it the last couple years where people just sell to pay their taxes January 1st. Like they just have to. It's like,
Yeah.
and if they've made any profit, they're gonna try to like, you know, make sure they're in profit and stay that way until the next bull market happens. So that's what
Yeah.
I'm definitely paying attention a lot more to, because you just don't know when it's gonna end, when that other shoe is gonna drop.
I know. It sounds so pessimistic, but like being in this bear market, you're like, when's it gonna end? Like, because when the second you're feeling really good, that's usually when it's done. And like, I don't want it to be over, obviously, but like the rational part of my brain is like,
Yeah,
this is the last weekend we're gonna have where it's like this. But the truth of the matter is, if we're really getting people from other chains, like, and that seems to be just starting to happen, if we can continue like having crazy volume days, like it's not going to end until like we overtake OpenSea as like the number one marketplace or something, you know.
right.
Who knows if that'll ever happen. But um
I think if we're the only chain with royalties, I think it's a real possibility, and that's, I mean, what, an 8x from here to get to
yeah,
number one, which isn't that, like, on the grand scheme of things, it's not that much. And I think, God, if that happens, everything changes for Cardano, because all those big media companies like Cointelegraph and CoinDesk, they're gonna have to start paying attention and like writing articles about our shit, because we're
flooding
gonna
us.
be the leaders in the market space, and they're gonna have to talk about it, which creates more value for everybody holding NFTs in the Cardano marketplace. So it's like, well, why would I sell then? You know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's
yeah,
hard. But I think it's a real possibility because of the royalty thing. And then we also have the Cardano Summit in November, right? And all these other protocols that are about to be released are here. And you have all these releases that start taking place every 2 days, which makes it really hard to have a lull and a place
yeah.
for people to escape, because that constant interaction of things happening keep the community alive and keep the conversation happening here in Cardano. Like to like, not financial advice Tuesday or three times is doing their mint. I think that's going to be massive. Um, what a great, like, that whole thing was a clusterfuck from a month ago because they couldn't get their metadata correct for their NFTs, so they weren't able to mint a month ago. But boy, what a fucking treat for them, because now that they've waited,
Blessing in
they're
disguise.
releasing their mint at the right fucking time. Like, it couldn't be a hotter market. All-time highs in sales and NFTs. I mean, you're having a new mint on a major brand from Instagram with thousands of followers who are just like diehard or three-time people already, and now you have this perfect culmination of all these things happening, all this attention in the space, and they're going to mint on Tuesday. So I think that'll be massive. Then you have the Cardano Summit in November. You had Charles Hoskinson come out and like be sneaky about it and be like, "Hey, we just had something huge happen. I'm gonna announce it. Like, who knows what it's gonna be?" That's pretty sweet. That gets more people. Then you have Yummy Universe with this weird, vague tweet where they're just counting down. I think today's one, so that means tomorrow they're gonna have some massive announcement. It creates so much engagement, um, and it's just like these domino effects, right? That just keep people into the ecosystem instead of like, dipping their toes in, being like, "Oh, that was interesting," and they leave. No, because there's just more shit happening. More ways for people to make money. And then you have like Liquid Finance and Axo token being released in December. It's gonna be really hard for those people to leave. Like, this is kind of what Cardano does. It's just like slow and steady, runs the race until it just inevitably takes over everything.
Yeah. I have a theory. about Yummy Universe. I
Shoot.
think that I just came up with in my head right now, but I think they did
Yeah.
that collaboration with Purdy Cats. I think they were testing their airdrop functionality, and maybe this thing they're teasing is like an airdrop of like an evil Yummy. That's my prediction. We'll see if I'm right, Mike. Um, mm, sorry, I didn't. I was expecting to blow your mind, and it didn't happen. So I was like,
No, it's very interesting. I mean, we've seen the video. Do you want to show the video of the evil Yummy Universe thing? I think it's kind of interesting.
yeah, hold on. It got me hyped. That little video.
Scoop any more up?
I only have 2, but I used to have like 4, and I sold like a long time ago. But I bought another one the other day because I was like, I need more than just my one because like I'm never gonna sell this one. It's like I love it too much.
Yeah.
It's too cute.
You hear it?
Yeah.
So that was
Spoop.
it.
They don't give you much, but it's enough to get you
Get your juices
thinking.
flowing.
I think they've done a really good job of building up hype, and it's funny how everyone's like releasing stuff right now. Like they were just waiting for the market to come back. Almost like seems like everyone had stuff ready. Like all the good projects had stuff ready. Um,
See, I don't think they
Makosi,
did. I think it's just like this is
just
what
luck.
happens. Not luck, just like this continuing building. Like these teams are building no matter regardless of what. Like these are small businesses. They're releasing their product, and now that like a lot of the primitives for Cardano building apps and stuff has like gotten to a point where it's like feasible, you're able to get these releases really smoothly now. And I
Yeah,
just think this is how we win. It's just like week after week, it's just there's so much interesting stuff going on, and like it's safe. You're not having hacks and shit.
yeah,
Um, it's just so much good stuff going on, and so it's really hard to just check out because, like, had you checked out a couple weeks ago, you would have missed this whole NFT pump. Like if you sold all your NFTs and you you did something else, you had a new side job, like you missed it, and it
yeah,
sucks. But this is this is why like internet technology like this is so hard to like fade because it doesn't stop. Like as you sleep, it's just these people keep building, and it's global. So you just never know when that next pump's going to come, and you never want to be not a part of it or holding some of these assets just because of the chance of it's just so lucrative. It can, especially if like you're a trader and this is like what you live and die on, like you can make your month, your year and shit like this. So it's so hard to just leave and not pay attention. And that's why we're here for you, folks. We're here to bring you you know all this information in one place so you don't have to pay attention because we're the degenerates that do. We're here every day.
I have like a conspiracy theory that I feel like the traditional market people like got into crypto and they're just dumping it. Like they're doing their what's it called? Where they do like millions of transactions, just like
Yeah, the
market.
wash trading.
Yeah, and just bringing the price down like more than the S&P to make it look like, oh, crypto is dead and all this stuff. And I just don't think that the retail people can control the price of crypto anymore. But the fact that we're still here and like building stuff, like they didn't account for like people to continue to be interested in this stuff when they're not making money. So I think, and I'm sure like they hedge their bets, they're like, well, we still have to like invest in this marketplace, but we don't really understand it. And it's like weird. It's like young people stuff. But I think, we're kind of having our own bull market within a bear market in our own, like Cardano world. So people just don't really care about the price. They could like cut in half tomorrow, and I think people would still play around with this stuff. And I just don't think they really expected that to happen. And that's the end of my conspiracy non sequitur.
No, I think there's something to that because you can't buy ADA on FTX, you can't buy it on Gemini, which are two major markets that should have a top 10 token in their ecosystem, right? Like to buy for U.S.
Yeah,
buyers. So the fact that it's not available, especially in a bear market where it's just so easy to just for them to buy a shit ton of ADA and then have it for people to buy and trade is there's something there. You know what I mean? They don't want it to succeed because they don't own they don't own the majority of the network, so they can't control what happens here.
yeah,
And like as Cardano gets bigger, this is the thing that worries me is the centralization of the protocol because it's the one thing that sets us apart. And I really hope that the stake pool operators are protected because the more and more attention that comes here, you're going to get that VC money to come over, and they're gonna buy a bunch of stake pools, and they're gonna try to take over the network, so that they can do
yeah,
what they did with Ethereum. So it's really important that like we have all of our ducks in order. Shout out to Mallard Ducks, Mallard Order. Um,
so stupid.
but I think they will come over if this shit keeps happening. Like if we do take over the number one NFT spot, it's gonna change everything. It's like we don't have to be the leaders in every single like thing like DeFi. We don't have to be the leaders, but we will. We don't have to be the
Yeah,
leaders in NFTs, but we will. Um, just because the tech's better and like all it takes is people to be curious and like shit like this happens. So I just didn't think it was gonna happen this fast. So we'll see if it's just a flash in the pan or if like this is a changing of the guard. And I'm
yeah,
here for it. I don't think I can really leave like just like when shit like this happens, it gets you excited. It's
yeah.
like, oh, we're winning.
And of course, we're like, we don't believe it can happen because it never has before. But when it does happen, it's going to be unprecedented, and like shit's just going to go crazy. So it's it makes sense for us to be like worried that it's going to end soon, but it also makes sense that it could just be the
Keep going
changing,
up.
yeah,
Yeah, there's nothing holding
changing of
it
the
back.
guard.
There's no reason why it couldn't go up.
Yeah. Did you see that Makasi game footage, Mike?
Bring it up, Eric.
I was hoping you could bring it up on Twitter. Makasi.
So do we need to buy this land?
I don't know. I haven't bought the land. I think I just wanted the avatar because I think that's always where you kind of want to start. But it looks
It looks
like
great.
incredible. Looks like a Nintendo Switch game or something.
Yeah.
Loading time's a little long though, Mike. I think it
Not gonna
just
make it.
looped.
Okay.
But yeah, it looks really good. That got me bullish, I would say.
It looks great. I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be pretty cool. I was a big Yummy guy, and there was always Makosi in the back of my head as like something very similar. You know, they're kind of doing the same thing, but it seems like Makosi's able to get their game out a lot faster than Yummy has. So,
Yeah.
do you know if the Yummy game is going to be very similar to this, or is it different? Is it more of a card game, or
I think the Yummy game is more like a Pokemon type game almost. So I think it will be more like turn-based fighting or something like that. Um, but I don't know. That's what kind of made me want to buy it too. I was like, well, I bought Yummy and they haven't released like game footage yet. So how am I gonna like just ignore this other one that has, you know?
you know, it kind of reminds me of is we were talking about which, like back like last year, we were talking about which ape NFT to buy, and it was between Chilled Kongs and Ape Society. we went we went full tits into Chilled Kongs, and man, am I regretting that moment.
Oh boy.
But I
Gotta
think with this,
go
it's kind
back
of
and
the
watch
same
that
thing,
one.
where it's like I don't like they're cheap enough where it's like you can get both. So I'm like, let me just hang out to both of them this time because I don't know which one's going to be more successful, or which one like it's hard to like guess which project's gonna blow up. Like you kind of like you and me, we knew that like monkey NFTs were a thing, so let's buy Chilled Kongs. Like we didn't like the
Mhm.
artwork of Ape Society, so we're like, we won't buy that. But man, was that a bad idea? We should have did some research, which we will forever regret. But like with when you have these projects that are like this cheap but they're trying to accomplish the same thing, it's almost like better to hedge in both projects if you can. Like obviously some people don't have a lot of money, they're not able to
Yeah.
do that, but it's like instead of going whole hog into one project and getting 20 NFTs, it's like split it up, like just go half and half. Because especially if like you're in a position with like Eric and I where it's like we like both projects, like they have great teams, they're both making a really cool game, they have a great community on both sides, they have tokens, they're so similar, it's hard to tell which one's gonna like go past the other one. So
Yeah. I really I really don't know. That's why I want both, like you said, and they're almost like mirroring each other too, like price wise. And I could pull up the tokens too. Um,
pull it up,
let's do tab.
tab me.
Hold on. Tap Tools coming at you. Heard Tap Tools is gonna have an NFT thing too.
Is it?
Be sweet. So I'm very upset because first of all, I bought clay at zero point zero 0.02 cents or whatever.
Oh, let's not
ADA.
talk about where you bought it.
And I sold it all because it started going down and then I got out and now I just watched it go crazy. But anyway, did a similar thing with Yummy. Um and I think on the 7-day chart it was up like 300% or something insane. Um and at that point I was just like whatever. I'm just going to not do that. But suffice it to say, just like any native tokens that are associated with NFTs are also like doing really well.
I don't know
Um,
why. I don't know why that is too. It's kind of weird that like these people who are NFT people are also like dabbling their foot into native tokens too. Like I love that. I love that they're aware enough of the whole space to like use tap tools and be like, well, let's look at these native tokens, and they're all pumping too. So it's kind of interesting to see how that works. I thought it would be like, for me, when I watched the Ape Society token go up, I thought it was because of their whole ecosystem and the way it worked with the frames. You can only buy frames with Society, so therefore the token had no place to go but up, right?
Yeah.
Um, Now with Yummy, you can use it to buy smaller NFT projects, but as far as like the game goes, hasn't gone live yet. So there really isn't a reason why it's going up. I think maybe people are using it to pump and dump, but at the same time, if you look at the chart, it's like it has been selling off, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's getting bought back right back up. So people are taking profits, but you have people waiting in the wings for that price to come down so they could buy a shit ton, um, which makes me hesitant to sell.
Hmm.
Um, but also maybe they're just buying a bag for that moment when Yummy does release their game. Because if you're getting a million tokens for this game, I mean, you could be a rock star,
Yeah.
and you kind of it'll be interesting, like with Makosi too, if you want to check out that chart.
I also kind of think what's happening is people who like maybe can't afford to buy a thousand ADA NFT are like, well, since I missed out on that, maybe I'll see if I can do the token or something.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at the trade history right there. You're seeing a lot of these buys. They're smaller buys. They're 100 ADA, 24 ADA, 50 ADA. It's not a
Yeah.
lot of money, but when you have 1,000 people doing that, it will tend to move the price up.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. It's like, well, if I'm gonna, and also if I'm gonna get one of these NFTs, I might as well get a small bag of the token. So if the game does, like, if I'm gonna play the game, if I could use my NFT to play the game, and I can use it to earn money, well, I should probably buy this bag watch cheap now, just sit on it for a couple months, and then when it goes live, like, I can just fucking wreck people, because I'll buy all the upgrades.
Yeah. And it doesn't really hurt to just hold on for like a long time.
No, I think it's a great move if you have the cash. And like at this point in a bear market, you kind of have to assume everything in this crypto is like lost. Like, you don't need it for rent tomorrow. Like, you don't need it to
Right.
pay your groceries, your bills. That way you could just sit on it for months and let it do its thing, you know. And I think that's kind of the best way to play it. That way you're not like losing sleep over it.
Yeah. Wonder what I haven't looked at the Ape Society token recently. Yeah, that really took off and then someone dumped
Hard.
really hard. And like you
It's
said,
been
it's
buying it
being
back
bought
up.
up.
Yeah, I would wait for that to consolidate a little longer, and then, I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, like, if this is the beginning, it's kind of good just to hang on.
Yeah.
But if it's the end, you're screwed.
This is a huge
Eric and
jump.
I are thinking this is the beginning. Like, we've been waiting for a fucking year for this shit to start taking place. So the fact that it's happening now, and we've had like 3 days of multiple, it's like I just think it's starting. I You have to assume
I
it's
do
just
too.
starting.
Because like also people like us on Twitter, like we're so fucking hyped about it, like we won't shut up about it. And that's the same for like everyone in Cardano. Like we're all psyched and we're not just gonna let it end tomorrow, I don't think. Like we've had a taste and now we're like, we want to stay it. We want to like be the best. We see it
Yeah.
on the horizon. Like we want to be the top chain. And we've been waiting for the tech and the tech is here. Like it's getting better too. Like I just feel like this is the time where you can flip an Ethereum because no one's bullish on anything right now.
Yeah, that's a great point. This is the best time to flip shit. So it's like, I mean, when everything's coming down, it's like if you have a community that's like coming up, it it's like a flashlight in a sea of darkness, and there's like a life raft, right? And it's Cardano. It's like if everything's losing money and there's one place to make money, it's just going to attract people,
Yeah.
you know. And it's like if royalties are never coming back to ETH and Solana, it's just it's such a no fucking brainer that everyone's just gonna come over here.
Yeah. It's like if you're a creator, it's like
You have to come here.
if you work as like a waiter at a restaurant and then they're like, we're not
No
allowing
tips.
any tips anymore. Like, okay, then fuck you. I'm not working for $3 an hour. Or
Right.
it's like, then what? I have to mint a new project every month and like dilute all my
It
other
doesn't make sense.
projects. Like that's
It
the only
doesn't
way to
make
make
sense.
money. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's like, and it's like, oh yeah, just mint another project. It's like, oh, because it's so fucking easy to make another 10,000 items of rarity, and like it's so
And they're artists.
disrespectful to
Like
like. Sorry.
they don't want it. And they're artists. Like they don't want to just put shit out. They want it to mean something. Like
The good ones do, right? But
yeah.
it's like this weird space where you have artists and like tech too. It's like you don't want the
Yeah.
art just to be art. You want it to do something as well, like a utility. So fun times ahead, guys. I think really big things are happening behind the scenes. If you're just watching this for the first time, definitely check out some of these projects, some of these NFTs. Get your feet wet.
100%.
It's not financial advice.
I just realized I didn't check to see if Keenan Allen was gonna play today. And the game's already started, Mike. So that might get you a win. But it has nothing to do with this podcast. I just thought it would be funny to bring up. Do you have there was one other thing I wanted to bring up. Um Cardano Whale posted about ADA hit $1 million like locked yesterday. Um so I think that's pretty awesome. Like now we're getting people interested in the loaning aspect as well. But I just looked at DeFi Llama and we're like at an all-time low TVL. So I don't know if that's just because ADA has been so devalued, but I'm interested to see if that chart starts turning around too.
I don't know, because the TVL thing is weird when you think about it from the aspect of different things. Like the way Ethereum is built is they use these automatic market makers to create the liquidity pools for people to trade tokens, right? So that you're not using an order book like Muesli Swap where it's like, oh, this person has 300 tokens, I'll buy that. Like with AMMs, you're able to just be like, I want 1,000 tokens or I want to sell 1,000 tokens now. I don't want to fucking wait. So that's that. But like with protocols like Axo, there's gonna be zero TVL. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out because these metrics that they're using to rank things is kind of wrong when it comes to an EUTXO system like Cardano. It's different, and
Yeah,
that's why we get discredited a lot too. Because people look at those charts and they want to match everything to Ethereum because they think everything's a copycat of Ethereum. When in reality, it's like Ethereum was the first, and it doesn't mean it's the best and the best way to make a protocol. And it's not the smartest thing to do is to lock up your money like that.
right.
Um, and I think that's gonna slowly start to change too. With like Axo's gonna be huge for that because the idea is not to lock up your tokens, and it creates you want the speed of liquidity to be instant, and you can't do that when your value is locked up, like with Ethereum does with their proof of stake mechanism, where you can deposit your ETH and get interest off of that, but you're not able to withdraw that ETH until they say it's okay. And there's a queue too, so it's first in, first out. So people who locked their tokens up last year are going to be the first ones whenever they develop that. Like they haven't even developed it yet, so it's like who knows when you'll be able to get your money out. But with Cardano, it's liquid staking. So anytime you need to take your money out, it's available for you to take out. And I think Axo is doing the same thing. So the only thing that will lock up the TVL is the Dejed stablecoin that's coming on, hopefully this year. I doubt it. I think it's probably going to be like January. I've been listening to some of the CEOs talks, and it doesn't sound like it's close. Which sucks, because it's like, if you make profit, you're kind of still stuck at the whims of the price of ADA as it moves up and down, you know? So that's
Yeah,
the one thing that I like. We actually need that. We need that because people will leave ADA if they don't have a place to keep their ADA, like their values safe, right? From the volatility of the market. Like, it is so much
true.
more easier to stay in an ecosystem if you can keep some value on the side to be like, this is my 10% I lock up, so that if there's a cheap NFT I want to buy or a cheap token, I can come in and scoop it up real quick as it falls in value. Like, if you don't have something solid to not have to worry about the market going up and down, it's so much easier to play these markets. But if you have to go into another ecosystem or to a centralized exchange to save your value, it's like you're losing so much money like every time you do that. Like,
Yeah,
10% of the value. Like, if you made $1,000, you're giving that centralized exchange $200 just to switch back into USD. It's fucking awful, you know. And
yeah,
until like until like we get a native stable coin, it's gonna be really hard for us to overtake Ethereum. So that's why I'm also just like apprehensive about like this whole bull market right now, because it's like, I have a feeling it will end at some point. It will come back down, you know. So it's
it's
really
like
hard to
what you
play
said
this.
about the price being stable. Like,
Yeah,
that's helping us. Because if
it's
it wasn't,
huge.
I don't think people
People,
would gamble with it.
they wouldn't even chance it. They wouldn't even take the risk, you know. But if you put $1,000 in now, it's 35 cents. You make a couple thousand off Makosi, take your profit. It's still 35 cents at ADA. It's great, you know. Like, you don't have to worry about that shit. But as soon as the markets start moving again, I think it's gonna put an absolute halt on everything that's going on right now, unfortunately. But you know, I'm just one fucking guy who knows. I'm just talking shit.
And on that note, I think that's all I had, Mike.
On that note,
So bullish. Despite what he said, I'm
exactly.
bullish.
I'm bullish as well. I just want to, we're just talking shit here. I want everybody to be aware of everything that's going on. And
We're not gonna sugarcoat it, guys.
we're not sharing Kona here, folks. This isn't your pump and dump channel. We're not here to dump on you. We're just here to figure out what the fuck's going on.
Yes.
And we will see you next week.
Peace.